Michael Jackson cracked the code that entrepreneurs and most powerful people will never understand. They spend their entire lives chasing the wrong kind of power, completely missing what actually matters. But he actually did. This is the story of Michael Jackson and a favela in Rio de Janeiro, and a lesson about power that changed everything. In 1996, Michael Jackson was operating at a level of global fame that most people cannot even comprehend. He was the biggest pop star in the world. He had conquered every country on earth. He had the wealth to fame, the resources and every official authority to do basically anything he wanted. But he wanted something more than just official power. He wanted to create something that actually mattered. He wanted to do something that would push boundaries and challenge the world and show a different kind of humanity. He decided to film a music video for his song, They Don't Care About US, and he decided to film it in one of the most dangerous and most authentic places on earth, the favelas of Rio de Janeiro. For those who don't know what a favela is, let me explain, because this context is absolutely crucial to understanding why this story matters so much and why it will change how you think about your business. A favela is not like any neighborhood you have ever seen. These are entire self-built communities that emerged organically on hillsides in Rio, where hundreds of thousands of people with no money and no resources decided to create something anyway. The streets are narrow and winding. The buildings are colorful and packed so densely together that sunlight barely reaches the ground level. There are no official city planning or government services. No police protection. No basic infrastructure that wealthy neighborhoods take for granted. The government basically pretends these places don't exist. So the people in the favelas created their own systems, their own protection, their own rules, and their own power structure, because nobody else would help them. Criminal organizations filled the void that the government abandoned, and these organizations became the de facto government in those neighborhoods. They had more real power than any official authority because the residents actually trusted them and listened to them and believed in them. They knew that these organizations cared about them more than the government did. When Michael Jackson's team announced their plan to film in the favelas, the Brazilian government went into complete panic mode. They were mortified. They were ashamed. They saw the favelas as an embarrassment for Brazil, as something that made the country look bad and undeveloped. They believed that showing the world these conditions would damage Brazil's international image and reputation and economic interests. So they did what governments always do when they feel threatened by something real and authentic. They tried to use their official power and authority to shut the entire project down. They said, "No, you cannot film there. It is too dangerous. It will make us look bad. It will hurt Brazil's image internationally. Do not do this. We are telling you this is not allowed." And this is where the story gets absolutely fascinating and important, because Jackson's team had a real choice to make. They could fight the government through the legal system, which would take months and might never work, and would cost a fortune in lawyers. They could try to sneak around and film secretly, which was risky and disrespectful to the community. Or they could do something completely different. They could go to the one person who actually held real power in that territory. One of Rio's most wanted men at that time was Marcinho VP. His real name was Marcelino Estevão Victor Pedro. He ran one of the largest criminal organizations in South America. He had complete control over entire neighborhoods. He was more powerful than the police because he had something the police did not. He had the loyalty and the respect and the trust of the people who lived there. The residents feared the government, but they believed in Marcinho VP. So Jackson's team did something that was absolutely genius. They went directly to Marcinho VP. They explained what they wanted to do. They were honest about it. They told him that this video would show his neighborhood and his people to the entire world. They told him that his community would finally be visible to billions of people instead of being invisible and stereotyped and forgotten and criminalized. And Marcinho VP made a decision that shocked everyone around him. He said yes. He said yes to the whole thing. He did not ask for money. He did not ask for credit in the video. He did not ask for anything in return. He agreed because he understood something that most people with official power never figure out in their entire lives. Real power is not about control through force or fear. Real power is not about domination or coercion. Real power is about serving your community and lifting them up and making them matter and making them visible. He realized that this video would make his neighborhood visible to billions of people. His residents would finally be seen as human beings with culture and creativity and beauty, instead of being seen as criminals or statistics or problems to be solved. So he shut down his entire operation for the day. He provided security for the entire film crew. He personally made sure Michael Jackson was safe and that everything went perfectly. He even participated in parts of the video to show his people that he believed in this too. Think about that for a moment. A criminal with a government-wanted poster on every police station provided better protection and support and cooperation than the government did. The man with no official badge held more real authority than the police. The man they wanted to arrest was more helpful and more powerful than the people who had the power to arrest him. This is real power at its purest. When the day of filming arrived, it was absolutely extraordinary and unforgettable. Hundreds of residents came out and participated because they believed in what was happening. They danced. They celebrated. They were energized. They were visible to the world for the first time in their lives. Michael Jackson performed with incredible energy and passion. He connected with these residents on a human level. He treated them as human beings. He showed them that they mattered. He showed them that their community was worth celebrating. The energy on set was electric and real and authentic. When that video dropped, it became a phenomenon that nobody expected. Over 1 billion views. Billions of people watched it. It is still one of the most watched music videos in human history all these years later. But here is the deeper lesson that most people miss when they hear this story. When that video went global, the narrative changed completely. The world did not see a crime zone. The world did not see a dangerous place full of criminals that should be feared. The world saw community. The world saw culture and humanity and beauty and authenticity and creativity. The world saw real people with real stories and real dreams. The favelas became a symbol. They became a symbol of resistance against being pushed down by systems that don't care about you. They became a symbol of real power and community power. They became a symbol of what communities can do when they have each other. They became a symbol of the strength of people united for something that matters. Now here is why this story matters for your entrepreneurial journey and your life and your future. Most entrepreneurs are obsessed with getting official permission. They want government licenses. They want permits. They want regulatory approval. They want someone in power to validate what they are doing and give them permission. They spend months and years, and sometimes their entire careers, trying to navigate bureaucratic systems and convince people in authority to say yes to their ideas. They are waiting. They are begging. They are trying to get the official stamp of approval. But here's what they don't understand. Official authority is the weakest form of power. Official authority is just noise. Real power comes from people. Real power comes from community. Real power comes from understanding what people actually want and providing it better than anyone else can. Marcinho VP had real power because people trusted him and believed in him and listened to him and followed him. The government had official power, but the residents completely ignored them. When you are building a business, when you are trying to create a movement, when you are trying to change something, the people who matter are not the politicians or the regulators or the bureaucrats. The only people who matter are the ones who will actually use your product and believe in your vision and support your mission and tell their friends about what you are doing. Michael Jackson did not need government permission to create an iconic video that changed how the world sees an entire community. He needed community buy-in. He needed trust. He needed people to believe that what he was doing was worth their time and energy. Once he had that, the government's no became completely irrelevant. The government said no, and it did not matter because the people said yes. This is the fundamental truth that changes everything about how you approach your business. When you have the people, you have everything. When you don't have the people, nothing else matters. Think about every business that has disrupted an entire industry. Uber did not ask permission from taxi commissions. They just started operating, and millions of people said, yes, I want this service. Airbnb did not ask permission from hotel associations. They started, and millions of people said, I want to stay in someone's home instead of a hotel. Tesla did not ask permission from auto manufacturers or the government. They built electric cars, and millions of people said, I want this technology. They all figured out what Marcinho VP knew. You need the people first. That was their real power. The regulations and permissions came later, or they did not matter at all. Most people think you need all the official permissions first, and then you can start building. But the most successful entrepreneurs in history figured out that you need the people first, and then the permissions become irrelevant or come automatically. After that video dropped, things changed in Rio slowly, but they changed. The international media attention increased dramatically. The world saw the favelas differently. Tourism increased to those neighborhoods. Business opportunities emerged. International organizations started paying attention. Most importantly, the residents stopped being invisible. They became human beings instead of statistics. They were recognized. They mattered. Marcinho VP eventually was caught and imprisoned, but his legacy shows something profound about what real power actually is. He understood that true power is about serving people and lifting them up and making them visible and important and believed in. The government tried to control the narrative and failed completely. The police tried to enforce rules and failed. The man with real power, the man connected to the people, made it happen without violence, without force, without coercion. He did it just by understanding what his community needed, which was visibility and respect, and to matter on a global stage. Now let me break down exactly what this means for your life and your business and your future. If you are starting a business or building a movement, stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for official approval. Stop trying to convince the people at the top. Stop navigating bureaucratic mazes that waste your time. Instead, focus entirely on the people you serve. Focus on the community you are building. Create real value for the people who matter. Build genuine connections with them. Earn their trust. Understand what they need and deliver it better than anyone else can. The people with official power will always try to control things and limit things, but the people with real power are the ones who actually serve people and connect with people and understand people deeply. When you have that connection, when you have that trust, when you have that community behind you, then you have real power. Then nothing can stop you. Not the government, not the regulations, not the competitors, not the people who said no. Because the people said yes, and that is all that matters. Michael Jackson learned this in 1996 when he walked into a favela and realized that the most important person in that situation was not anyone in government. It was not the politicians or the police or any official authority. The most important person was the man trusted by the people. The man who understood real power. The man who could deliver what actually mattered to the community. And that man made the entire project happen. So the next time you are about to ask for permission, ask yourself this question. Do I actually need this permission, or do I just need the people? In most cases, you don't need the permission. You just need to connect with people. You need to serve them. You need to earn their trust. You need to understand what they want and need and deliver it better than everyone else. Once you have the people, the permission becomes irrelevant, or it comes naturally, or you simply don't need it at all. That is real power. That is what creates real change. That is what builds real movements. That is what creates businesses that matter and that change the world. The people are always more powerful than the system. The community is always stronger than the bureaucracy. Trust always beats authority. When you understand this, when you really internalize this, your entire strategy changes. Your entire approach to business shifts. You stop trying to convince people in power. You start trying to connect with people who matter. You stop waiting for permission. You start building what you believe in. You stop worrying about official approval. You start focusing on real impact and real value and real connection with your community. And that is when you truly become powerful. That is when you truly succeed. That is when you genuinely change the world. This is the lesson that separates the people who are chasing official power from the people who actually have real power. The government had every official title and authority and weapon and resource and law. But Marcinho VP had the people. And the people won. The people always win when it really matters. So which side do you want to be on? Do you want to spend your time chasing permission and official titles and regulatory approval and waiting for someday? Or do you want to focus on the only thing that actually matters, which is building trust with people and serving them and lifting them up and making them believe in your vision? Do you want official power that everyone ignores or real power that moves mountains? The choice is yours, but the lesson is clear. Real power is people power. Everything else is just noise. Michael Jackson understood this deeply. He had all the official power and fame and wealth and resources in the world. But he also understood that none of it mattered without the people. So he went to the people. He connected with them. He served them by showing them to the world and making them visible. And that is why his video became one of the most iconic moments in music history. That is the lesson. That is the power. That is what will change your business and your life if you truly understand it and apply it to everything you do.